Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashem Elishai Bashem Rekak Badash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. Salutations to all my fellow laborers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. To the confusion of face, joined unto our ranks. Alright? To the hopeful elect, the Akwaf that are listening and learning. To them I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm coming at you with another lesson. In truth, the name of the video that I'm about to profile is called Jax Brought Out the True Spirit of Esau, What They Really Think About You, Video Response. Alright? And this is from a man who through the Spirit, now that I've watched this video twice, through the Spirit, I believe that this man truly is confusion of face. Simply because Esau is clean contrary to our ways. This man happens to be from a town where I have a ton of family members. I have a deep history in that town, even though I haven't really spent much time there, you know, in the past, over the last 30 years or so. All right, actually even longer than that. All right, yeah, and in the town that he's in Jackson, my family was very well known, and my uncle was probably the most famous person in the history of the city of Jackson. Probably one of the most famous people, so-called someone of a melanated Negro descent. You know, even though my uncle wasn't a Negro, he definitely an Israelite. But he's probably the most famous individual to come out of the city of Jackson. And I find it sad that with the amount of men that was in my family, when my grandfather died, my family was really large on my father's side. All right, and there's a reason for me telling this story, because it's related to what he's going to go into. And when my grandfather died, out of his 10 children, he actually had 12, 2 died. And that was common 60 years ago, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, 90 years ago. A lot of families were that way, especially in the South. But when he passed away, there was 103 grandchildren and 102 great-grandchildren. And more than half of those were men. And not one of my family members is in the Mississippi camp, is in the Jackson camp, that I know of. For all I know, I might get down there with the brothers and start talking to them and find out one of them is actually, which wouldn't be far off. But that's where this man is hailing from, and he actually says in the video he prefers to be around Negroes and not white people anyway. And the man reads the Bible and defends the Bible. And defends the station of the Hebrew Israelites. And comes against Esau Edom and what they do. So without any further ado, let's let this video play so that I can bring out the scriptures and give a commentary on some of his statements.
Sorry about that. Okay, so this is going to be a video response to the Jax Hebrew Israelite white people hating on it. Video response to that. I'll try to post the description in the link and whatnot. Anyhow, look, so check this out. Not all white people are fully awake. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna put it out there. Most of you people are just full on dead asleep. Now, just to clarify where I'm coming from, give you a little background on myself. As you can tell, I'm white.
Congregation of the dead. All right, meaning when a person does not know who they are, you're dead. Okay, but he's gonna make that clear about what whiteness is and how he is white, but he's not white.
I definitely look like Esau, definitely look like Edomite and whatnot. And it's very well possible that I do come from that bloodline, but the truth be told, in reality, we come from the same source, the same seed. We all come from Abraham, which makes you Hebrew Israelites my brothers.
And we've been telling you that for a very long time. That's in the book of Genesis, the 25th chapter. It reads, and this is totally organic. I got a few scriptures that I jotted down, but I haven't brought out one of them yet. Because I was waiting for him to say specific things. So, but now that he said this is Hebrews, Salakia, Genesis 25, and I'm going to start at verse 19. And it says, and these are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son, begot Isaac. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years when he took Rebekah, 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan, the sister of Laban the Syrian. All right, proving that your lineage is through your father and not your mother. Okay? And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived, and the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to intrigue of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the people shall be, and one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. All right, so he made it clear that there will be 2 different nations in your womb. They will be separated from birth. And whichever one came out first would be the servant to the younger. All right. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red. Look on the screen. And it's nice that there's a white backdrop, because you can clearly see his skin is not white. All right. The first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And later his name got changed to Edom, which means red. That was his nickname. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare him. So what he just admitted in the first few minutes of the video is that he knows that Negroes are not African. And that means that the so-called white man has lied. This is Job, 14th chapter, the 13th chapter, and the fourth verse. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. So he just said that the so-called black man is his brethren, or so-called Negroes. All right? He just admitted that he knows that they are not African. All right? Because the so-called white man, the self-prescribed white man, Esau, Edom, falsely put that label upon them, knowing that they were refugees in Africa from the land of Israel. That's why the other dark races, the Africans, the real Africans, so-called, enslaved and sold Jacob into slavery, fulfilling prophecy.
Now, I was born in Texas, raised in Mississippi, real close to Jackson. And Jackson's heavily populated. Probably more black people live in Jackson than they do white people. And for some reason, white people don't really want to come here, which is fine with me. I don't like being around you guys anyways. To be honest, I feel more comfortable in the hood than I do out there in the woods. Just the way it is. I think it's
Esau is never going to be comfortable around Jacob. That's the first sign, or one of many.
Because of what I know. Either way, the thing is, the point I'm trying to make is that everything our history is taught to us is a lie. Everything we think we know and everything we think we believe is a lie. Every bit of it. At the end of the day, you got to use common sense, use your mind, wake yourself up and think about it. to read. It's his story. Whose story? Who's the one telling the story? It's Esau's story. So at the end of the day, everything in history is his story. Now, if you want to know true, actual history minus the his story, then you need to open your Bibles and take a look at it. Because in the Bible, it's going to tell you straight up and real clear. And it's going to be real straightforward to the point. There is no reading the Bible and thinking of it and looking at it and thinking that, I can just interpret it whichever way I want to.
And he's got a solid point there. One of the things that they don't acknowledge in the churches and when they're teaching the Bible in these false theologian based churches and theology schools, theologian schools, is this scripture here. This is Tobit 13:3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he have scattered us among them. So the Israelites got scattered among all the heathen. All right, and among Edom, and a lot of Israelites look like Edom. Point blank. Period. And BOIs are chooking and folding their arms and had throwing a bitch fit, but that's a fact. Scriptures in Isaiah clearly says that he hid Judah among Moab. All right. He hid the seed of Judah among Moab. So that means there's a lot of so-called Chinese that are actually Israelites. Hell, just look at the way a lot of them, a lot of the Ammon and Moab are into breakdancing, b-boying, rapping, singing, R&B, that Korean R&B scene, the Korean rap scene, the Korean b-boy scene. All right? You can't get around these things, man. You people that are hung up on color, you're unlearned and just plain stupid. You fucking stupid.
Think about how much sense that makes when you think of it in terms of other books. For example, The Notebook. Everybody, well, not necessarily everybody. The white people, you love The Notebook. Now, you'll go read The Notebook, or you'll go read 50 Shades of Grey, and no matter how many of you read it, no matter how many ways you read it, it's always going to be interpreted the exact same way. You're never going to read it and interpret it any other way than exactly the way it's written. Now, why in the world would you take the most valuable, most pleasant, most knowledgeable piece of information that's ever been written and think that you can interpret it any daggone way you want? The truth.
Exactly. You can listen to The Notebook, read The Notebook, watch the movie The Notebook. All the characters are who they are. When it comes to the personal pronouns, the she, the he, the they, you have no problem. Then you get to the Bible and it says, for God loved Jacob and hated Esau, and all of a sudden you want to make that not be so. When it says Esau has no salvation, you want to not make that not be so. When it says Esau is the end of the world, you want to make that not be so. You can't interpret it the way you want to. Just like he said, 50 Shades of Grey, The Notebook. All right? The characters are the characters. You can't interpret it, you got all these degrees and all this intelligence, and then when it comes down to the like he said, the most important book ever written, all of a sudden you lose your goddamn mind and you don't know what a noun and a pronoun is. And all of a sudden you want to make nouns and pronouns relate to everyone instead of the subject matters that they're referring to.
Is you can't. And the reason why you can't is because it's not meant to be read and interpreted any way you want. It's meant to be read line upon line, precept upon precept, which means for all you Bible thumpers.
So this is someone who's clearly been watching, hanging out, or being around Hebrew Israelites, because you do not hear white evangelicals, so-called, talk about precept upon precept, line upon line. That is only something that you will hear from the mouth of someone who has learned through the authority of Yahushai, Yahushai. All right, he will say Yah. All right, which is in the Bible, and it is a shorthand version of the Lord's name, but it's not the full name. The name is Yahweh. All right, and he also uttered the name Yeshua, which is a Yiddish, the false way, the broken Germanic Yiddish-based Hebrew that is used by Esau Edom today, not the actual biblical Hebrew as they called it in the land of Israel. The Israelis refer to the Paleo as biblical Hebrew. They don't use that.
Thumpers, Southern Bible Belt, Bible thumpers, all you Christian wannabes and everybody else that thinks you know something about anything. The truth is you don't know jack, and you don't know jacks. And the reason you don't know jacks is because you don't know the Bible through and through. You got to read that thing from the beginning to the end.
And he's referring to the character Jax in the game, who went back and ended and stopped slavery from happening. All right, that's what this whole video, this rant was about Esau Edom and how that brought out their true nature. And this was his response.
Genesis to Revelation. If you don't read the beginning, how in the world can you understand the end? Why in the world would you start in Matthew all the way?
And all the promises in Genesis all the way up to the end was to the Israelites, to Jacob, not Esau Edom. And not all people, not all the other races. To our people scattered among them, that he's going to pull back out of them in the end of days and the latter days. Yes, but to an actual Edomite or actual Moabite, no.
Way down there to the end of the book and think that you have some type of comprehension and understanding of the reality of what's going on in that book. You wouldn't pick up 50 Shades of Grey, the third book, and start reading chapter 5 or chapter 14 and assume that you know everything there is to know about all the rest of the books. That makes absolutely no sense. Now, the thing is, black people, white people, those are terms created by Esau. Now, I don't like calling Esau the devil, but I will say this. Esau definitely serves the devil. He has served the devil since the beginning of his time. And it goes back, way back, even beyond and before him.
Well, Esau is the devil, all right? Devil just simply meaning deceiver. There's a difference between the angelic force who controls the left-hand side, which is Satan, all right, and Esau. But just like the Israelites are the counterparts to our king, Yahushua, who sits on the right-hand side of the Father, the Edomites are the counterpart and representation of Satan on earth, as the Israelites are representation of Yahushua on earth. As simple as that. And that's why in Isaiah it reads the way it does. When you get to the 14th chapter, let's grab that. And the 12th verse, starting in verse 12. And it reads, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer?" All right? Because Esau told his history. He put a Greek word where it was supposed to be a Hebrew word. It was supposed to say, Satan. All right? Not Lucifer. All right? Because that devil, that deceiver is Esau Edom. All right? "How art thou fallen from heaven," meaning rulership, "O Lucifer, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations." And Esau, through his policy, has weakened the nation. All right? With his jacked up economy, taking away gold and pushing the petrodollar, pushing a fiat currency, and look at the trade wars and the devastation which has been done to the earth, both economically and environmentally, under the rulership of Esau Edom. He's weakened the nations. "For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into the heaven and will exalt my throne above the stars of power. I will sit upon the mount of the congregations in the sides of the north." So Esau has declared himself as God. All right, and in the sides of the north is talking about North America. When you get to the UN, who's the number one nation and ruling that over that whole thing? Esau Edom, mainly the ones here in America. All right? "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." He's definitely trying to accomplish that when he started flying with his space stations and things of that nature, with his medicine, his technology, which most of that technology was created by Jake, but Esau puts his name on it and hides that fact in most cases. All right? It says, "Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell," to a hellish condition, and that's what's happening. You're witnessing the fall of America, the destruction. "To the sides of the pit, and they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee." So when you give that squinting, narrow, dirty look, All right, saying, is this the man? So we go into subject matter, noun, and pronouns. Lucifer was the subject matter, the noun, and then man was the pronoun. Is this the man? Esau. Okay? That they say that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms? And he did. He made the earth tremble, going all the way back to Alexander. And he shook kingdoms all the way up until now. The dropping of Fat Boy and Little Man. Okay? And Esau, Edom is exposed. Okay? 2 more scriptures. This is Ezra, the 9th chapter. The point is in the 7th verse. It says, since you can read 1 through 7, all right? But the point is in the 7th verse, because 1 through 7 gives you the action on how the Israelites were mixing and mingling with these heathen nations, and they look different as a result of it. So once again, you can't read that and then determine something else, that they just had only a confused look on their face. No, it was confusing and looking at them, because now they look different as well. All right. So it has a multi-meaning, because you have those arguments. So they were confused, you know. Yeah, and also was confusing to look upon them, because now they look different. Israelites had very distinctive looks about them. You could tell people in the ancient world their family lines just by the way that they looked. Just like with my same said family down there in Jackson, man. Right, which my forefather, my grandfather, migrated to Jackson from Yazoo. All right, so that one of the elders that I learned under many years ago, his father, who a lot of people kept saying that we looked alike, and through conversation, we when I met him in person, found out that we were related. And that our father was from the same place. All right? Which is a place, if you know anything about John Horse, who led the Black Seminoles and the Seminoles down into Mexico. And they even gave them their own plot of land down there. You can look that history up. John Horse became a general in the Mexican army and fought against these devils here in America with the Mexican army. And took many of our people down there. But during that process, many of us got left behind. And Yazoo City was one of those places where that happened. Because John Horse settled there for a while on his way to Mexico. But anyway, this is Ezra 9 and 7. Since the days of our fathers we've been in great trespass unto this day. And for our iniquities, we our kings and our priests, been delivered into the hands of kings of the lands, to the sword and to captivity. So we were delivered into other lands. And what was happening in those lands? We were being raped, and we were also willingly making children with the heathen. Facts. And now priests have been delivered into the hands of kings of the lands, to the sword, to captivity, to the spoil, and to the confusion of face, as it is to this day. All right? So we were confused and ashamed, but we were also confused in look. Point blank, period. All right? Point blank, period. Let me check one more precept just to see if I should read that or not. Actually, I'm going to let it go at that, because I'm looking at the time and this camera will cut off. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem Abishai, Ba'Shem Rakar Kwadash, Wa Abba Abba.